Yeah. I appreciate the opportunity to take part in this discussion on journalists in conflict zones around the world, and I want to thank Deputy Minister Coveney for his detailed speech and for his confirmation that the promotion and protection of all human rights remains a key foreign policy priority for Ireland, and we'll be holding him to account in relation to that, in relation to the many countries that are not promoting human rights, including Israel. I also note that we have assumed, and he's clarified, the presidency of the Committee of Ministers of the Council of Europe, which we became a member of in 1949, the year we became a republic. And he goes on then to put it, and I can't put it any better, so I think it's just important to repeat what the Minister has said. The most recent figures from Reporters Without Borders provide a grim, that's his word, a grim background to today's debate. 939 journalists and media workers were killed across the globe during the 10 years from 2011 till 20. And last year alone, 50 journalists were killed and 302 imprisoned. And many people have paid tribute to Lyra McKee and Martin O'Hagan and Veronica Guerin, and rightly so, and to the Simon Cummers, and I can't pronounce his name, so I'm going to do my best, Pierre Sakruski, along with his colleague. Both were killed on the 14th of March. So the figures are grim, as has been said. And so what is our role in this? What is the role of this neutral, actively neutral country in our promotion of peace and the protection of journalists who are an absolutely essential part of a vibrant democracy? We cannot have a democracy without courageous, independent journalists. And we've seen the work of Orla Guerin, we've seen the work of John Pilger, and we've seen the work of John Pilger, the other, he'll come back to me in a minute, who died recently, Robert Fisk. And it's really important that we understand that the role of independent journalists is vital. And if we compare it to the role of journalists who have allowed themselves to be embedded at different points in different wars, Iraq comes to mind, we realise the importance of protecting independent journalism. They operate, obviously, under constant threat, constant fear of their lives, and lose their lives. And it's important what they do, that the narrative from any dominant power is questioned. So we don't have narratives just from the bad guys. We have narratives that are self-serving for all powers, and at all times they must be questioned. If we don't do that, we don't do it at our peril, and we endanger our democracy. And so if we look at what's covered and what's not covered, and the abominable, illegal invasion of Ukraine has to be covered, without a doubt. But the focus has been taken off so many other wars. Now, I know it's difficult, Minister, but if we determine our foreign policy and our neutrality by what's nearest to us, which is the most human thing to do and the right thing to do, to give humanitarian aid, but if we do that, if we form policy because of geographical proximity, then we are in danger of losing the respect that we have, and one of the main reasons why we got a seat on the Security Council. And so the number of conflicts that are not receiving attention at the moment, and for many reasons, for many, many reasons. One of them being they're not top of the list of journalists, the priorities, and I'm just highlighting this. So we have the Yemen, where there has been an appalling ongoing loss of life. The figures, Cancorla, mean so little at this point because the figures are so high in the Yemen, a war that's been backed fully by Saudi Arabia that we're friends with. And then we go on to Tigray, Myanmar, Ethiopia, Congo, Somalia, and so on. So what I'm asking is that we bear in mind always that we have a very important role as one of 3 neutral countries left, to use our voice at all times to question. Part of that questioning has to be done by investigative journalism. The other part has to be done by democratically elected TDs in the Dáil and whatever parliament they're in. And The protection of journalists has been recognised for a very long time. We go back to the Hague Convention and declarations as far back as 1899. The Ukraine, we've lost 7 journalists since the invasion, and the Committee to Protect Journalists, as already been mentioned, is investigating the deaths of 7 others. In addition, 14 journalists have been jailed in Russia, and they are proceeding to bring in the most draconian legislation to silence journalists even further. And again, there's a role for us as a parliament to support the good journalists in Russia and the people on the ground that don't want this war, that they want this war to stop. And we need to hear their voices as well. And we need to stand with them in stopping the war, because the war has to stop at some stage, and the sooner the better. And there's a role for all of us in that. And then on the 11th of May, as has been mentioned, and it can't be mentioned often enough, Miss Abu I can't pronounce her name, so I apologise to her family. And as has been set out, killed on the 11th of May, a journalist with Al Jazeera for 25 years, known for her courage in documenting the hardship of Palestinian life under Israeli rule. And what has happened to her in life and in death, words, you would agree with me, Minister, words couldn't cover what's happened. But it brings into acute focus the impunity with which the Israeli government, and I distinguish the Israeli government from their people. And I know that our courageous people in Israel who have spoken out repeatedly about the apartheid regime operated, the words of amnesty, not me, the words of amnesty, the apartheid regime being operated by Israel. And so we have a government there that thinks there acts with impunity. And we have a report from Amnesty, as I said, and this government is still analysing that report. We're still waiting for the response from government. I've read the report. I never expect a busy minister to read it in the first few days that it comes out, but it's now weeks. It's now weeks since it was published, and we have no response to that. The response and the failure to carry out an independent investigation by the Israeli establishment is nothing short of shocking and appalling. And they've come back and said it's an active combat situation. I don't know how we're not calling that out for what it is. The Minister Coveney certainly has issued very strong words, but what is the next step? Only last week we heard that the IDA have a liaison person on the ground in Israel to bring us closer in terms of trade. And the comment about that was, that's nothing unusual. Well, I think, unusual or not, it's most unacceptable that we would be tightening our links in that manner while this is going on, and we're letting it happen in our name. I want to mention Malta as well, because another neutral country, and the journalist that was killed there, right on our doorstep. 53 when she was killed in a bob in October 17. And she had spent 30 years as a journalist uncovering networks of corruption in Malta and abroad, and her car explodes. And finally, there is a public inquiry, finally, but that was precipitated by a resolution passed by the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, which shows, Ceann Comhairle, how important that organisation is. And they actually found that the state was responsible for her death, and I know there are processes in being at the moment. Interesting again, the 437-page report found that the state had created, this is Malta in EU, had created an atmosphere of impunity. That's Malta, generated by the highest echelons. And finally, I want to conclude by mentioning two journalists, Julian Assange, who this government and all governments prior to this have utterly ignored. And that extremely courageous man published in 2010 almost 500,000 documents and from Chelsea Manning at the time, showing a video in which 2 US soldiers in an Apache helicopter gunned down a group of unarmed civilians. Now, I'm running out of time, but there are any amount of examples of what this man. And what have we got? We have the UK Supreme Court saying he can be put back, and we were waiting on an announcement from the Minister, and we're sending this man back, and we have Boris telling us at the same time that addressing Russia, and rightly so, in relation to journalists, but completely ignoring this side in relation to what's happening and what he's actually doing. The final person I want to mention, Ken Corla, is Khashoggi, the journalist. I mean, what happened to him in 2018? And we have let that go by as well without any action following our condemnation. And the role of Saudi Arabia in that, while we tighten up our relationship with them and we decide the world on the basis of our friends and not our friends, them and us, that's an extremely dangerous foreign policy.
Thank you.